Welcome to the Ho-Ho Show.
Rated the #1 most listened to podcast on Pluto. So join us now as we discuss news, politics, current events, and so much more. So clear the airwaves and strap in as we
defend the Constitution, because freedom matters.
Broadcasting live from the Kida Studio. Welcome to the Ho-Ho Show. And as always, I'm your host, Ho-Ho. Hey, how's it doing? I hope you're doing good. I really do. So we are but 2 days away. 2 days away from Halloween. Quite possibly my favorite holiday. And for the past 5 years, Alex Exum of the Exum Experience and Live Talk with Alex Exum has been one of those reasons why. Because this is the 5th annual Halloween extravaganza. And this year, he is doing a retelling of Frankenstein.
It's a privilege to be alive. We take it for granted too much. But before you can live, you have to survive. And that is not always an easy task. But on this eerie and dark night, there are no guarantees you are going to survive. Who will live and who will die? This Halloween, a maniacal surgeon known for barbaric experiments is on the loose in his asylum. Are you ready to meet Dr. Stein? Are you ready to match your wits against this maniac? Find out now at diabolicaldrstein.com. Meet your maker.
Oh, yes. And if you have not gotten your tickets already, head on over to diabolicaldrstein.com. Just click on the link for the tickets, and that'll send you over to Eventbrite. And just use the promo code HOHO for 20% off. That is promo code HOHO, diabolicaldrstein.com. Again, that is diabolicaldrstein.com. Get your tickets today. Time's running out, man. 2 days away. That is it. That is it. And it will go into the vault, never to be heard from again. Maybe. Anyway. Speaking of time, and time is running out. And before I get to all that, so I'm not over there on YouTube right now. I'm not. I am over on YouTube at the Ho-Ho Show Part 2, but not at the main YouTube account. And actually, if you head on over to thehohoshow.com, I have I've redid the page a little bit, included a bunch of links in there, one of which is for the YouTube page, The Ho-Ho Show Part 2. I might end up having to do another one because I'm with how anyway, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Right. The Ho Ho Show Part 2, that's what I'm streaming to right now over on the YouTube side. So unfortunately, I can't actually take anything over there, go over there. I can't upload a video. I can't live stream, obviously, because I have another strike. Now, I am, however, over there in Facebook land. I am, of course, live streaming to, I hit my boom. Live streaming over there on Spreaker, and then after the show, it'll propagate to all of the myriad of podcast platforms that I am on. But as far as the video side, I am only on the Ho Ho Show Part 2 on YouTube. I'm over there on Twitter and over there on Facebook, not just at my public profile page, but also at the group page, Weaponized Sloth Productions. So that's where I'm at. And after the show, and I know I tried to do this a couple weeks ago, maybe it was 3 weeks ago now. I don't remember. It's been a while ago. But I tried to do this, and it didn't work because I was testing the stinking thing out and I couldn't figure out how to do it. But I wanted to go live over there on Locals. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to do it. I've since figured it out now, but that doesn't help me. I still have 2 more days before I could actually live stream over there on Locals. However, after the show, I will be doing a short episode live stream over there on Rumble. This is going to include some topics that I can't talk about on the show over here because YouTube gets mad at me. Surprisingly enough, I've not had anything flagged over on Twitter. I haven't had anything flagged over on Facebook. And to be honest with you, I'm kind of surprised about that, but I have, however, been flagged and had strikes due to something that, again, I'm just not going to talk about, but we are going to get into it. We're going to go into depth a little bit with it. And we're going to cover some of the topics and some of the hypocrisy around what was flagged and for what it was flagged. And again, that is going to be over on Rumble. And if you would like, you can head on over to, let me minimize this a little bit because I don't remember if I put it in the description. Hey, I did. Cool. So if you head on over to my Rumble, which you can follow the link down in the description below. It is https://link.thehohoshow.com/rumble. Just follow that link, head on over there, or of course you can go to thehohoshow.com, and on the homepage there is a link for that. And if you head on over to thehohoshow.com, just click on that newsfeed tab. You'll see my magazine on Flipboard, and the first article in said magazine is actually the topic that we are going to be discussing over there on YouTube. So now, again, we're talking about time. And we are but 1 week away. Well, 10 days. A week and a few days. A week and a few days. Like actually the day after. No, not the day after. A week and a day after Halloween. So that would be 10 days away. 10 days away from Election Day. The midterm Election Day. How crazy is that? And as the title of this episode suggests, we need to get out and vote en masse. We need to make our voices heard. We need to do it. That's all there is to it. Hey, that rhymed. That was awesome. We need to do it. That's all there is to it. We need to get out and vote. We really do. Now, here's the thing, guys. All right. I understand. Okay. I really do. I understand. I get it. Especially with how things turned out last time. We won't get into it. I'll get a strike again, but I understand. Okay. I get it. Because if it isn't an aspect of one thing, then it's an aspect of another. You think as though even if you go out and you vote in droves, it's not going to matter, because even though you elect these Republicans in office, even though you do that, even though you give them the benefit of the doubt and every opportunity to at least put a halt to the Democrat agenda, that they won't do anything. You'll just get a bunch of rhino Republicans, in which case, hey, if it's Mitch McConnell, then that's probably what's going to happen. But even still, we need to do this. We need to hold these people's feet to the fire. We need to hold them accountable. We need to not accept failure and a do-nothing establishment rhino Republican Party. We can't do that. We can't. On the last episode, I talked about what's at stake. But this time I got some bullet points that I'm wanting to share, because, I know there was some stuff during the last episode that I left out. I know there was some stuff that I didn't talk about. And this time I printed the thing up complete with bullet points. It's amazing. And this is the contrast between two parties. Never before in recent history have we had this big of a contrast between Democrat and Republican, between the left and the right. Now, that wasn't my left and my right. I mean, there's Democrat and Republican, but for y'all, it's switched. But anyway, between Democrat and Republican, it's the difference between night and day. It really is, people. Now I'm going to be honest with you, and this goes back to what I was talking about at the beginning of the episode, was I understand your reservation for not wanting to even waste your time, because in your mind, that's what it is. Because, you get out, you vote for these people, and, even though they campaign that we are going to push a conservative agenda, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to do everything that you want us to do, what ends up happening whenever they get in the office is nothing. That's what happens. They go in there with the best of intentions. Then whenever they get to Washington, it's now we have to appease the middle. We don't want to be viewed as the bad guys. We don't want to push our agenda down the throat of the liberals and the establishment and what have you. We don't want to be the bad guy. We're scared that the optics are going to be bad. They want to appease and be bipartisan, and of which case, no. Screw you, that is not what we sent you to Washington to do. We sent you in Washington to support the Constitution, to preserve the Constitution, to set forth and put forward a conservative agenda. Do that and you will have our support. Don't do that, and, how can we support you if you're not going to support us? So again, I understand your reservation, because that's what we get. And I'm going to be honest with you. I don't remember what year it was, but it was the Obama versus Romney. That might have been in 2012 maybe? Yeah, 2012. Yeah, 2012. I didn't vote for Romney. I didn't. And I'm not even going to give you the BS as if, you don't vote, then you just need to shut the hell up because you ain't got no right to say nothing. I didn't vote for the president. It's not to say I didn't vote, but I didn't vote for a president. I didn't put my vote down for Romney. Why? When there's no difference between the left and the right, why put a vote down there anyway? It doesn't matter what you're going to get. It doesn't matter who you vote for. You're going to get the same thing. Here's the new boss, the same as the old boss. It doesn't matter when they're both the same. And if in 2016, good old Jeb Bush would have won the nomination, then I wouldn't have voted for the president during that election either. Why? Because here's the new boss, same as the old boss. It wouldn't have mattered because they're both the same. But whenever you're talking a stark contrast between Hillary Clinton and Trump, I'm going to be honest with you. 2016, I didn't vote for the president either because I just thought that Trump would be, here's the new boss, same as the old boss. But in 2020, I was proud to vote because I seen just who President Trump was. I seen how hard he fought for me. And I'm just a nobody. I'm just one of we, the people, and he fought for me. The first time in my life that I had ever voted for a president, because I knew that for the first time I was going to get represented. And I was proud to vote for the president. I've voted before. I ain't going to lie to you. I've voted before. But that was the first time voting for the president, and I was proud to do so. Absolutely. And this is the first time. You know, and 2024 is going to be pivotal as well, but this is truly the first time that we have seen such a contrast, this freaking huge and undeniable between the ruling of two parties that we've ever had, at least in my lifetime, that I can remember. This is the first time, the contrast between two parties. And it's not that far removed. It's not that far in history that you really got to go back and that you're not going to personally remember, because that's what's amazing about this is this wasn't that long ago. This was 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago. We've seen the difference. We have felt the difference. It's not a theory. It's not something that is separated by time. We remember this. That was a hiccup. Holy crap. But let me get into. I got the hiccups. That sucks. Good stuff. Had to take a drink. So let me go ahead and get into my bullet points and the contrast between these two. And of course, if there is anything in here that you would like to throw in as well, just let me know down in the comments below. And of which case, also, if you want to call in lines are open. That number is 217-965-6133. That number is right here in the upper right-hand corner of the screen. I had to think about that. That's where it is, 217-965-6133. Call lines are open. Just follow the prompts on in, and we'll see what's up. We'll get this going. But anyway, here's my bullet points. The differences between the Trump and Biden presidencies. The first one, well, you got higher labor participation rates amongst minorities ever before seen in history. That's what you had during the Trump presidency. The lowest unemployment rates that we have seen. And I don't even know how long. And why do both of those mean something? And both of them are, you know, kind of important to see side by side? Well, it's because the Democrats don't generally do that. Because the Democrats don't like to count both of them. You have unemployment and you have labor participation. Why are they both important? Well, because the Democrats, they like to just stop counting people, okay? They like to stop counting the chronically unemployed. They stop counting people once they are no longer receiving unemployment benefits. To them, that means they're no longer unemployed. Doesn't matter whether they have a job, but they are no longer unemployed. They're not receiving benefits, they're not unemployed. But with Trump presidency, not only did we have low unemployment rates, we had the highest labor participation rate. It was it was basically at a level to where you had to run kicking and screaming to not get a job. Everybody that wanted a job had a job. And here's the thing, the law of supply and demand meant that these jobs that people were getting were good jobs, higher paying jobs, because these businesses had to fight for your employment, had to fight for you to come and work for them. That meant that they had to make it appealing. That meant better 401k contributions. That meant, sign-on bonuses. That meant higher wages, better hours, better benefits. That meant that you, the employee, had not only a greater chance of getting a job that you wanted, but you had a greater chance of getting a good paying job. That's amazing. Because you weren't fighting to get employed. They were fighting to get you to work for them. The law of supply and demand, that's how that works. And during Trump's presidency, that's what we had. And it was given to us by the free market, by free market capitalism. That's how the free market capitalism works when you allow the free market capitalism to work. Let's move on. We had a secure border. Yes. See, there was a stay in Mexico. You know, that you couldn't just cross the border and seek asylum. You had to apply for asylum on the other side of the border. And you had to wait for your court date and hope that it was approved and you were granted asylum, which, you know, mostly it wasn't. You know, because whenever you border jump and you just cross 5 different countries and say, I want to seek asylum here, you can't really seek asylum like that because according to the agreement and how things are supposed to happen, that you got to go to the next bordered country and seek asylum there. But you have people that crossed into 5 different countries or 6 different countries to land at the U.S. I mean, if we're so god awful, why are people coming here? Anyway, moving on. People were deported a lot easier. You know, ICE was allowed to do their job, you know. They were working on building the border wall. See, but it still didn't get complete. The border wall, even during Trump's presidency, didn't get complete. Why? Because, you know, the Republicans in office during the first 2 years that were in control of both the House and the Senate failed the president and failed to get it funded because they had to appease. You know, they had to appease the Democrats. They had to be more moderate, even though they got elected on being conservative. They had to appease. They had to be, you know, bipartisan, and they couldn't get the support to get it done because they didn't want to be the bad guys. Screw you, we're building the wall. That's what they should have done. Unfortunately, they didn't, but they still got a lot completed on that. They really did. We had some of the lowest illegal crossing numbers that we had ever seen. All thanks to President Trump and his policies. We were energy independent. It was the first time since we became an industrial nation that we've actually been able to say that we were energy independent, a net exporter of energy. And hello, Brian, over there in YouTube land. Good to see you. I'm glad you found me over there at the Ho Ho Show Part 2. I had to go over here because I got another strike over at the main page, and of which case I am going to talk about that right after this over there on Rumble. So if you just follow the link below, that will be up and going 5-10 minutes after the show is done, and we'll be talking about that, of why I got banned and just the hypocrisy behind that. Because you know what? I'm sick and tired of this bull crap, and I really hope this type of stuff changes. Anyway, let's get back into this list. Energy independent, net exporter of energy. The first time that had happened since America became an industrial nation, an industrialized nation. They removed a lot of regulations. They lowered the corporate tax rate. You see, the U.S. has one of the highest corporate tax rates in the industrialized nation. One of the highest. Which is ridiculous because, you know, the crappy part about that is it's not the corporation that pays these high corporate taxes. It's you, the consumer. They're not going to take that hit. They pass it on to you in higher prices. If they were to lower that, and this is something that President Trump also proved because he lowered a lot of these tax brackets, and guess what? The cost of goods went down. All across the board. For people that say, oh, well, they're just going to keep the profits and keep that money. Hey, look, it only takes one to lower the prices, and then everybody has to follow suit. And that's exactly what happened. Isn't that amazing? That's amazing. Moving on. He also lowered taxes for the middle class. Actually, he lowered taxes for everybody, but the middle class was one of them he was very proud about doing. But unfortunately, he couldn't do more because of the Democrats and the Rhino Republicans. They had to do too much appeasing. They wasn't able to lower the tax bracket for the middle class as far as what he wanted to, and he wasn't able to make it a permanent, semi-permanent fixture in the tax code. Why? Because there was too many Rhino Republicans that were like, no, we have to put a sunset clause on how much money we can save people in the middle class because, we may want to raise their rates again. And instead of taking the blame ourselves for wanting to raise these taxes, we want to pass the blame on Republicans and say stuff like, well, if you really cared so much about the middle class, then you would have made these changes permanent. And in which case, what did Donald Trump say? He said, we tried, you stopped us. That's the thing I loved about Donald Trump. It's the thing I loved about Donald Trump because he didn't just let Democrats and Rhino Republicans talk a lot of Bravo Sierra. He called them out on it. Said, no. You're not attacking me for what I did whenever I did only what you let me do. I'm not accepting that. I'm not falling on that blade. I'm not falling on that sword. I ain't doing it. I did what I could. I couldn't do more because of you. So he didn't let the Democrats go, oh, well, it's all your fault. He said, no. This is what happened. And they were like, well, crap, he's fighting back. And the fight stopped. Wasn't that amazing? Whenever you fight back, whenever you don't take it on the chin like what the Republicans do all this sticking time, that they stop fighting you. Anyway, moving on. What do we have under the Biden presidency? Oh, well, I'm glad you asked. Well, let's see. Unemployment. Horrible unemployment numbers because we are paying people to stay home and we still have not gotten back to pre-COVID levels. I love it whenever you have, the president saying, oh, well, our unemployment numbers are, they just keep going down. People going back to work. We're creating jobs. You're not creating jobs. You're not creating jobs at all. You haven't even gotten back to pre-COVID levels. You ain't creating jobs. You're letting people go back to work. That's not creating a damn thing. Ain't creating nothing. We have an open border. Now, this is absolutely appalling to me. Okay, because there's a lot of stuff in this, okay? I don't know if y'all have heard some of the stuff going on down there, but to say that it's bad doesn't put enough weight behind those words. For something as bad as this to call it bad, no, it's horrible. No, it's horrible. No, it's horridable. No, it's horridable. It's horridable. It's bad, guys. It's bad. Catch and release is going on, of course, and the people that get caught and released, worse than fishing. These people don't have no fear of getting caught, arrested, getting deported because they know that there is no consequences to not showing up for their hearing on whether or not they get amnesty. They know there's no consequences. Why go back? They're not going to do anything. Because ICE baby has been pretty honest about saying that, no, we're not going to do anything. ICE has even come out and said, ICE baby, that, I need to make that a sound. I really do. Anyway, with ICE, they've even come out and said that our hands are tied. We can't do anything. We've been given stand-down orders. We have somewhere around like 200 million crossings. I don't remember if that's in like a week, a quarter, a year. I don't know, but it's really, really freaking high. And it's the highest it has ever been. I mean, whenever you advertise to the world that, hey, all is welcome. We're not going to send you back. We're just going to let you stay here. Whenever you get here, we're going to give you, 3 hots and a cot. We're going to give you free health care and education. We're going to make sure all your needs are taken care of. To hell with our own population. We're going to make sure you're taken care of. The border is wide open. Come on over. If first you don't succeed, try again. 200 million. And that's just what we know of. Who knows about all the ones we don't know about? Fentanyl coming across our border in droves. A new fentanyl came out, just in time for Halloween, candy coated, looks real nice for the children. Until they take one of them because some sick bastard wants to do it, and because the Democrats party wants to let it across the border. It's amazing. Now here's where it gets bad. No, we'll save that for last. Terrorists, we've had all kinds of people that we know of that's come over this terrorist, and that's, again, is not including any of the ones that we don't know about. And we find out about most of them whenever it's a little bit too late to do anything about it. We try to do some of the, vetting that we can, but, by the time that we're able to process, considering it's catch and release so stinking quick, we're not able to get that done quick enough, and terrorists slip through the cracks. On purpose, by the way. They know this is an issue down at the border. Kamala Harris and Joe Biden knows it's an issue. The entirety of the cabinet knows it's an issue, but they don't care. And so their policy stays. Millions being found dead on both sides of the border. How many more people need to die for them to take this seriously? I don't know. Now, here's where it gets bad. Sex trafficking and child trafficking. Anytime a woman is going across the border, they have to pay the cartel. There's no other way around it. You don't pay the cartel, they will kill you, period. That's where some of them dead bodies are coming from. Actually, that's pretty much where all the dead bodies are coming from. One way, shape, or form. Not slipping through the cracks, they're walking right through the front door. You're right on that. You're absolutely right on that. But these people that are coming across the border, every single one of them are paying the cartel to come across the border. They got to work it off. Slave labor. Do you care about slavery? You're welcoming it into your country by allowing the Democrats to do this. Congratulations and thank you. But with sex trafficking, going back to that, okay? Women have to take contraceptives before they make the trip, because it's not a question of if they're going to get raped. It's a certainty they will. The only question is how often, by how many people, and are they going to live through the ordeal? That's the only question. So in order to keep from, having to have a child by the rapist or multiple rapists, they have to take some type of contraceptive, some type of a birth control, a shot, or what have you. This is what they have to do because they will get raped on the journey. Period. End of story. And they're aware of this and they're okay with it. Child trafficking. This is where it gets really disgusting. Because yes, we do checks to make sure that the people who cross the border with these children are the families that these children belong to. But unfortunately, their catch and release policies are done in such a way that by the time we catch that, hey, these are not the parents, that they've already been released. Do we know who these people were? No. Child trafficking. We know what's going on. They know what's going on. Do they care? No. Apparently they don't care about these children. Apparently they don't care about these women getting raped repeatedly. Apparently they don't care about the millions that are dying on either side of the border. Apparently they don't care about slave labor coming into this country. Apparently they don't care about the fentanyl coming into this country. They don't care. We can talk about why they're wanting this on another episode. It doesn't really matter. Either way you look at it, they don't care. This is what's going on. They know this is what's going on, and they don't give a damn. Yeah. Isn't that awesome? One of the first things that Biden did upon getting into office was he shut down the Keystone XL pipeline. He released sanctions on the Russian pipeline. He canceled land leases for drilling. Did not approve new drilling. And just so you know, The newest refinery that we have in the U.S. is like 70-ish year. It was built in 1970, so it's like 40-ish years old. That's the newest refinery that we have. And right now we have about 20-ish days of diesel fuel left before we're out without processing new. Inflation through the roof. The housing market has tanked. We have lost $1.9 trillion in our 401k nationally, and they're not expecting there to be any relief for the next 2 years. And, and there's really nothing we can do, even if we do win the election, even if we do. By hook or by crook, even if we do win, the best we can do is stop their agenda. That's the best we can do. The best we can do is hold the federal government in hostage by, a government shutdown that is assuming that, we pass what it is we want to pass in the budgeting process, because that's all done by the House of Representatives. The best we can do is hold hostage. You will sign this, but we're not putting a bill forward that you like. This is the bill that we want. The best we can do is hold the government hostage for 2 years. Now, don't fret. It's okay. It's not like our military is going to have to stand down. They're not. That's still going to get funded. Okay? Because a government shutdown just means that, certain attractions might not be opened. But nobody stands down. Essential government functions and government workers, it'll still happen. Essential government functions and government employees will still have a job, will still get paid, all that other kind of good stuff. It's the non-essentials that are sent home. And isn't that a funny thing? Isn't that a funny thing? That it takes a government shutdown for us to get rid of non-essential government employees. On a computer, on a cell phone, we call that bloatware. Stuff that you don't need and probably don't want. Stuff that just slows the whole entire process down. You only got so many resources, but yet you have all these people standing around there wanting money to do something that isn't even an essential job that has to get done. So what's so bad about a government shutdown? Anyway, moving on. Oh, yeah. Crime. Cashless bail. Things being decriminalized like second-degree murder and grand theft auto. And, theft. Theft has now been legalized. If you steal something under, $900 and some odd dollars, then they won't even prosecute you. They won't do anything to you whatsoever. Or at most, they will process you, fingerprint you, take your picker, and then they'll send you on your way for doing these things in a lot of these Democrat-controlled states. Decriminalizing illegal criminal activity. While at the same time, they want to defund the police. That makes so much sense. Education. They're wanting to teach our kids critical race theory. Which, let's be honest, people. It doesn't get any more racist than that. CRT is the highest form of racism. Think about it. What are they teaching kids? Well, if you're black, they're teaching you that you are a victim just because of the color of your skin. They're teaching you that nothing that you have was earned. That everything was given to you because you were either too stupid or incapable of earning it yourself. That's what they're teaching these kids. Just because of the color of their skin. That's the highest form of racism. No. You're too stupid to get this job on your own merit. Here, let me give it to you. You're too stupid to get this on your own, to get this job, to get this house, to get this loan, to get this college education. You're too stupid to get it on your own merit. You can't do it without us standing in the void and making these people do it. Highest form of racism. And if you're white, then they're telling you that you are an oppressor just because of the color of your skin. That everything you have in your life, everything you have accomplished, all the work that you have done in your life, all the work that your parents have done in their life, everything that they had sacrificed wasn't really sacrifice at all, because everything that they earned was on top of and because of slavery, that without having the slavery thing, that nothing they would have been possible at all. That you don't deserve anything that you have. It doesn't matter what your background is. It has nothing to do with that. It's all about the color of your skin. It doesn't matter that even if your ancestors were once slaves. Because apparently slavery started with the enslavement of black people out of Africa. Even though we're not the ones that enslaved them, we just bought whom were already slaves. Or at least that's how the slave trade came to the United States. We weren't the people that created the slave trade. We're not the people that made the slaves slaves. It's not like we took a Cardinal cruise ship over there and said, hello, we have this awesome cruise ship. And then once they got on board, we said, ha ha, you're the help. That's not what happened. They were already slaves whenever they showed up and became part of the triangle trade. That's how that happened. But just because you're white, you're an oppressor. And everything that you have is off the back of slavery and slaves. That's what they're teaching our kids. One way or another, they are teaching through critical race theory that your kids are worthless. Everything is about race. Like I said, CRT is the highest form of racism, but that's what they're teaching our kids. And when it comes to the LGBTQ, I don't even want to get into that, but this is something that right now is like, holy crap, it makes my blood boil. Because now, without your parents' consent, they will do the whole social transitioning into being a transgender. Making it to where it's even illegal to move if you live in, let's say, New York, and the powers that be, because the government knows best on how to take care of your children. That once they start this transition, the social transitioning, and then moving into the whole actual physical transitioning into being a transgender, that once they start this, once they have decided that your kid is a transgender, then even if you attempt to move down to Florida or a state that has a little bit more common sense when it comes to the issue, no, you will be prosecuted and detained. That's a crime because the government knows best. You don't, the government does. I heard something not that long ago that, the best thing that you can do is to ask your child if they say that, oh, maybe I was born in the wrong body. Ask them what they mean by that. You might come to find out that they mean something totally innocuous that has nothing to do with another. These are all things that are being taught to our kids. It amazes me how, like right now, you have the age of majority is considered to be 18. You can vote, even though they're trying to back the legal voting age down from 18 down to 16. As an 18-year-old, you can join the military, you can get a tattoo, you can own a long gun. That's about it. At 21, you're legally an adult. And I put it like that because, well, at 21, now you can drink, now you can smoke, you can consume alcohol and nicotine. But at 7 years of age, you can decide to switch your genders. You can't get a tattoo, but if you want to cut off the twig and bits, then you can. Evidently, you're adult enough to be able to make that decision that is life-altering, that you can't get those back. You can remove the mammary glands, you can remove the twig and bits, you can do all that. You can have hormone therapy, you can have hormone suppression and hormone therapy, you can do all of that while still in elementary school, but you can't get a tattoo because, that's illegal. Because this is going to be a life-altering, permanent change done to your child You know, I mean, it's amazing how if the parent of a 10-year-old tried to give their children or try to get their child a tattoo, then they would be thrown in jail for child abuse. But yet, if they cut out their twigging bits, convince them that they're transgender, then that's perfectly okay, acceptable in our society. Tell me that ain't screwed up. Tell me that with a straight face. Your kids are not your kids anymore. They're just not. Because according to the government, they're their kids. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break, and then I got a few articles that we're going to touch base on. So just a couple minutes, and I'll be right back.
You are correct. You are correct. You are correct. You are correct.
It's a privilege to be alive. We take it for granted too much. But before you can live, you have to survive. And that is not always an easy task. But on this eerie and dark night, there are no guarantees you are going to survive. Who will live and who will die? This Halloween, a maniacal surgeon known for barbaric experiments is on the loose in his asylum. Are you ready to meet Dr. Stein? Are you ready to match your wits against this maniac? Find out now at DiabolicalDrStein.com. Meet your maker.
Oh yeah, DiabolicalDrStein.com. Head on over there today and get your tickets. Just follow the link on over to Eventbrite and use promo code HOHO at checkout for 20% off Diabolical Dr. Stein. The link is down in the description below. Time's running out, 2 days away. So I know that was a lot of information I covered during the last segment. And I hope you got angry enough to go out there and vote come November 8th. I believe early in-person voting begins Monday, actually, here in the state of Illinois, if I am not mistaken. I'm going to try to see if I can head over there and get mine done. Just for the simple fact is, I don't know if I am actually going to be in town November the 8th. I mean, I should be, but, you know, I know a couple of years ago I did the whole in-person early voting, you know, because as a truck driver, you just don't have them type of things guaranteed to you. You don't know. You know, you can't guarantee from one week or the next what's going to happen. You know, you just kind of, you know, I've learned that as a truck driver, you don't make plans to do something when you want to. You just kind of plan for plans going just to fail. You know, that's how you make plans. I plan for this thing to go to crap. And so early in-person voting, that's what I did. You know, that's what I did. You know, I don't know how y'all's do it. I don't know. Quite personally, I prefer to do it on election day because that's when election day is. They should just make it a national holiday and get it to frick over with. But unfortunately, they haven't, so we're stuck doing it the way that we're doing it right now. In-person early voting, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong down there in the comments, at least in Illinois, I believe it starts Monday. So, yeah. Anyway, let's go ahead and continue. Let's get into some of this. So, I read this article from the New York Times. And what is amazing is, well, apparently I've gone into there too many times that they won't let me just click on the article. But the article says that Republicans have no inflation plan, and of which case, I smell Bravo Sierra on that one. I mean, it's easy what the Republicans' plans are to battle inflation. Let's complete the Keystone XL pipeline. Let's open up the leases for drilling. Let's start drilling. Let's modernize some of these refineries. Let's build some new refineries. Let's get the economy going again. Let's do that because everything starts there. Let's do that. Let's lower the corporate tax rate. Let's lower the taxes in general. Let's get off of the progressive tax code and actually do something that is constitutional. Let's adhere to the 14th Amendment, or is it the 13th Amendment? I don't understand, but it's equality under the law because we don't have that in America, but we should. Let's go back to that. Let's get that for the first time ever in U.S. history. Let's adhere to the Constitution. Doing these few simple things. Lower taxes. Let's get rid of some of the regulations that hold up production, that hold up drilling. Let's open up drilling up in Alaska, a territory that we bought not just for the strategic location of being right there next to Russia, but it was because of the oil reserves that were there. Let's make America open for business again. Doing that will squash inflation. It'll squash it. We will see prosperity like we've never seen it before if we actually go back to Trump-era policies. It's that simple. That's what we need to do. Do we have a plan? Yeah. Let's go back to Trump-era policies. They were working. Open everything up. We don't need another government plan to fix it. Let's get the government out of the way and let the free market economy fix itself, because that's what happens when you open the free market up, the free market capitalism. That's what happens when you do this. I seen this article from Dogwood. 6 times that Republicans suggested or outright said that they want to cut Social Security and Medicare. Yeah, and so what's so bad about that? I was listening to another radio host give what his idea was for getting rid of Social Security and Medicare. You know, you can't say that something is popular whenever you don't give people a choice. I mean, whenever they took Social Security away from being a part of its own funds and made it part of, you know, the general budget, well, they kind of screwed everything up. And yet they'll still want to limit the payout regardless. It's not their money anyway. It's your money. And yet you have to go to them and say, may I? Instead of just having access to it. Instead of being able to will it to whoever you want to and have full say of where your money is. You know, because here's the thing, whenever it comes to government owning something that you pay for in the form of taxes, that, you know, so you buy government rail. You know, after 3 years of having a bus pass and paying all that money in the form of taxes and, you know, your bus pass ticket or card or whatever it is, what do you have at the end of that? Nothing. After paying for your rail pass and paying for the rail in the form of taxes, after 3 years, what do you have? What do you have to show for it? Nothing. You pay for it multiple times, and it still belongs to government. But if you own a car, and let's say you're on a 3-year note, what do you have at the end of that 3 years? Well, you got a car that belongs to you, that you can do whatever you so choose with that car. You can sell it. You can give it away to somebody. You can fix it up. You can keep it as a classic, and hopefully that the value will skyrocket. You can do all these things. It's yours to do whatever you want to. But when you allow the federal government to follow through with the abolition of private property, what you are left with is nothing. You're left with the bill why government owns everything. And that's where we're heading. The abolition of private property. And Social Security knows different because you don't own that money. Even though it is your money, even though you're the one that paid into it, but at the end of the day, it belongs to government. They're the ones that choose where it goes, not you. What Republicans would like to see, what conservatives and libertarians would like to see is, why don't you say what happens with your money? Because when you give that money to government, then government is going to take a portion of it and then give you a portion back. Actually, they're probably going to take the majority of it and give you just a small portion back. They get $1, you get a dime. It's kind of how that kind of thing works. See, we believe that you should be the arbiter of your own money. Not have to go through government to get what rightfully belongs to you. If it's never put in government hands in the first place, then that's more of your money you get to keep. You should be able to keep all your money as much as possible. Government doesn't need to be in the business of Social Security and in Medicare. That's how you get prices that make absolutely no sense when you have government getting in the way. Let's get government out of the way and let free market capitalism decide. That's the thing when it comes to Medicare, dude. When it comes to so many of that different type of stuff. You know, like when it comes to healthcare, I have never seen what free market capitalism looks like in healthcare. I've never seen it because the government has always been involved in one way, shape, or form. Now, this is something we were talking about a little bit earlier, talking about with CRT and transgenders and being in the schools and whatnot. This article from justthenews.com. Florida committee moves towards banning gender treatments for minors. That's a good freaking thing to do. ban these gender treatments for minors. Because like I said, you can't give a kid a tattoo because they're not mature enough. They're not an adult, the age of majority, any of that. They're not of legal age to determine, maybe this is a good idea or maybe this isn't a good idea. But yet you can snip their twig and bits. That makes no freaking sense to me whatsoever. But that's what they're allowing to happen, to be done. But Florida's like, no. We need to protect that which is most valuable. We need to protect that which we hold most dear. As men, that's what our jobs are. To protect that which we hold most dear. Protect the women and children. That's what we're supposed to do. And here we're letting this happen. That's unfathomable to me. And at least you do see some people actually trying to do something about it. You see, we've been complacent for far too long. As citizens, as parents, we've been comfortable, complacent. One of the biggest things that the COVIDs and the lockdown has done is it allowed us to see firsthand what our children is being taught. And we didn't like it. Because everything was done behind the backs of parents. But here we are now aware. We know just how far the fight has gone. Just how much influence the state and the schools have. And we want that control back. JustTheNews.com. Florida moves towards banning gender treatments for minors. Protect those that we hold most dear. And since we're on this whole JustTheNews.com, I like JustTheNews.com. It's a good place for news. It really is. The Democrat Party has nothing to run on. They really don't. They really don't. Why they aren't proud of what it is that they're doing. We talked about this a little bit on the last episode with the whole accomplishments that the Democrat Party and Joe Biden has had the pleasure of having. But, it was laughable because, well, there isn't any. But then again, you have to kind of take into consideration what their goals have been. And of which case they've accomplished plenty. But one of the things that's absolutely hilarious, sad, and pathetic, really, is that, and I don't understand this, why aren't the Democrats more proud of what they've been able to accomplish? They were honest. They said that, hey, we're going to do this. Unfortunately, whenever it started to happen and the prices of everything started to go up, they were like, hey, people aren't really happy about this. And what you've been having going on is people have been lying their gluteus maximus off ever since these, entering into election season. And one big lie came out of Biden himself. He said, not that long ago, actually, that the gas price was over $5 whenever he took office. But unfortunately, the Pinocchio says that that's a lie, Biden. Gas, whenever he took office, was closer to $2.39 a gallon. Remember that whole energy independent thing? Yeah. But he said, he lied, and said gas price was over $5 whenever he took office. He's actually brought gas prices down. He's been able to do that successfully in his mind. Now, look, here's the thing. I'm going to surprise you on this, okay? Biden doesn't know. Really, when was the last time in the last 2 decades that Biden has pumped his own fuel? He's never had to. Never had to. He's not had to pump his own fuel. He's not driven his own car. He's not gone to the gas station and had to put a card in and pay for that and pump it and stand there and watch the gallons trickle and the dollar signs flow. He hasn't had to do that. He doesn't know. I'll almost give him a little bit of a pass on lying his ass off on this one. I'll let him get by with slipping on ignorance and not stupidity and not flat out lying. But the real problem is, oh yeah, he also said that, hey, if you're struggling to buy groceries and whatnot, just buy generic brand stuff instead of the name brand and save some money. That's one of the things that he said. I thought that was absolutely hilarious. But the problem is this, and this headline comes from the Daily Caller, and this is a perfect example of what has been going on for a very long time. Ever since Obama's presidency, this is what's been going on. This headline from the Daily Caller: Biden constantly peddles tall tales and corporate media couldn't care less. That's what the problem is. That right there is the problem. They say all these lies. They do all this crap. Forget yesterday, forget tomorrow. It's only about today. They allow, as in mainstream media, corporate media, they allow the Democrats to peddle all these lies. It's a propaganda machine that doesn't have anything to do with truth. It is a propaganda machine. And they wield it very well. The corporate media, mainstream media, couldn't care less. They allow the Democrats, the left, to say whatever they want to, unchecked, because they don't care. Because they're in the pocket of the Democrat Party, or the Democrat Party is in the pocket of mainstream media. I don't know. Either way, it doesn't pass the sniffer test. Either way. Either way. We're going to take another quick break. And when we return, what do we have left anyway? We got a few things left, if I'm not mistaken. Let me close out some of these. That was a lot of stuff to get through. We got oh yeah, Elon Musk. That's what we're wanting to talk about. And we're also wanting to talk about a little bit about what has happened with Paul Pelosi. And I think there's something else I'm wanting to talk about. Actually, I think that pretty well covers it, actually. Yeah. Elon Musk and Twitter, and then a little bit with Paul Pelosi and what had happened to him. That's what we'll get into next, right after this quick break. Don't go anywhere. We're almost done. Have you ever been so full of it your eyes are brown? Have you ever sat on the toilet but nothing comes out? Is a box of frosted shredded wheat just not doing the trick? Well, have I got the ultimate solution for you? Tide Pod Brand Colon Cleanse. See, Tide Pod Brand Colon Cleanse is that particular product that will break through the sphincter like the Kool-Aid Man through a brick wall. Oh yeah! No more irregularity, no more cramping, just good old nice flow. That's right. Tide Pod Brand Colon Cleanse. Please use responsibly and use at home. This is a fast-acting product now available in Tropical Punch. All right, and we are back to the Ho Ho Show. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are going to move on. Now, yes, we are going to be talking about Elon Musk. We are going to be talking about what happened to Paul Pelosi a little bit at least, but we are going to start off right here with an article from AP News headline: Biden signs international climate deal on refrigerants. Yes. Now, here's the thing whenever it comes to socialism. Socialism is for me, not for thee. Socialism is great for the people, just not for the socialists. That's how it is, okay? Because while you are being told, you evil consumer having a huge carbon footprint, that's bad for you to have a gas guzzling car, it's okay for this guy to have a jet and fly himself wherever he wants to. You know, and I'm talking about Zuckerberg. It's okay for them to do that. But let's get into this article a little bit. So apparently this is something derived from a ratified agreement from 1987, the Montreal Protocol on ozone pollution. And this was something that the Senate ratified last month in a rare bipartisan vote. Isn't that amazing? And it goes in here to saying what the measure requires different countries to do. But here's the thing. Do you really think for 1 second that any of these people, you know, like the Elon, well, not really that, okay, like the Mark Zuckerbergs, and yeah, even the Elon Musks of the world, definitely, you know, the Bidens of the world and the Clintons of the world, do you think any of these people are going to abide by this? Or do you think that they are going to, you know, put their refrigerant and cooling it wherever the heck they want to? You know, I mean, here's the thing. Yeah, Trump may have gotten us out of the Paris Accord, but you know what? We still made strides towards reducing our carbon footprint and help be more nicer to the climate. We did that. We were able to do that. We didn't need a climate Paris Accord to do that. You know, that's why we're not using some of the stuff that we used to use back in the day, because we have discovered how toxic it is, and we've discovered other ways that aren't so bad for the ozone and for the climate and for people. We've been able to do that through engineering and, you know, research and development. And that's because that's what the people want, and there is a market for this kind of stuff to be researched to where people can get paid back for it. You know, the market will work this out. That's what I'm trying to say. The market will work this out. We don't need to be held to another type of a treaty that could, well, let's just face it, take away your rights while still allowing the bureaucrats in Washington and wherever to do whatever they want to, because that's what happens. That's how these type of things end up playing out. You know, again, that whole socialism for thee, not for me. That's what we usually have. Anyway, Elon Musk. This article is from justthenews.com. Headline: Musk reportedly completes Twitter takeover and fires top executives. I thought that was amazing. I really did. He fired like the CEO. He fired a bunch of other people. He fired them. Got in there, fired them after the completion of the purchase. It was great. Loved it. I'm not watching that. I don't even care. Get off my screen. Anyway, it's not going to get off my screen. Doesn't matter. I don't care. Are you okay? He's not talking, so that's a good thing. You get to see his voice though. Or you get to see his voice. You get to see his face move. That's funny. Now here's the thing with this whole takeover, what have you. You know, this whole thing has been, you know, just a roller coaster of, I don't want to say emotion because I couldn't have cared less. You know, yes, I wanted to see somebody that was a supporter of free speech take control of a major social networking platform. At least one that is being used by, you know, quite a few people instead of starting one from scratch, you know, like Truth Social, which why former President Trump didn't just put this on Android using an APK, bypassing completely the necessity to take it through the Google Play Store or even iPhone, because that's the holdup of why you can't get it into the Google Play Store. They're like, nah, we don't want it. If he just would have developed it as an Android from the get-go, they could have released it as an APK, you know, kind of what they did for another platform. I don't remember what that was, but they put it as an APK on their website. You could download that, put that on your phone, and there's your app. You didn't need to go through the Google Play Store to do it. It's one of the reasons why I like Android the way that I do, because it's an open source platform phone, allowing you to do that kind of stuff. It's very awesome. But it's been a roller coaster, though, hasn't it? You know, the whole, he's going to do it, and then it's, you know, these guys have lied so much about, you know, the usage, and there's so many bots on here, and this is not worth near what they were claiming it was worth. And they're like, oh, no, you signed this. We didn't violate our agreement. You violated yours by going, you're going to back out of it. They're like, no, you violated your agreement first because this isn't worth what you said that it was worth. And they're like, it doesn't matter. They're user. Just because they're bots, it doesn't matter. You still got to pay it. I don't know about any of this crap. I really don't. But he walked in there, fired a bunch of people. It kind of sounds like he's going to be firing a lot more because he's taking, reportedly, he's taking the company a different direction. Not exactly a different direction, but it's going to be more truthful. They're going to be taking the company the direction that they claim that they had been taking this entire time. I guess that's more or less what it amounts to. That's funny. I'll let you read that on the screen. I'm not going to read it for you. We can't really talk about this over there on the Facebooks. We can't talk about that. And one of the things I feel that I think is kind of funny, DW puts this headline out there. Elon Musk and Kanye West, whom I believe is purchasing Parler, unfit to rule social media. Where here's what the thing is, and this is why people are saying this, because, well, Elon Musk isn't in anybody's pocket. You know, it's not that they're unfit to rule social media. It's that, you know, they don't have the right mindset that they want them to have, because they want Twitter to stay what Twitter has been. And that is, oh yeah, I was right. It is Parler. But they want Twitter to stay what it's always been. The left wants to be in control of social media. They don't want, you know, somebody whom is an advocate of free speech to have his finger on the button of a major social media platform. They don't want that. They can't handle that. I mean, do you remember about Parler in the first place? It was that whole, you know, free speech. We're not going to, you know, ban anybody. We're not going to stop anybody from saying whatever, as long as they are not people that are committing felonies and crimes, that we're going to allow free speech to remain free, and we're not going to do anything. And what you've seen was their servers got shut down because Parler didn't own the servers that Parler was operating from. That's what we had in the beginning. This headline from New York Post: Elon Musk is bringing reality to the liberal fantasy land of Twitter. Yeah, that's funny. You know, because this is kind of what it amounts to. Okay, they don't want, you know, that's one of the things that they say, you know, with you know, people on the right have been crying and whining for some time about, you know, I don't like being shadow banned and this, that. I don't like being blocked, and I don't like being removed for something as simple and basic as freedom of speech. You know, why are you, you know, misinformation that isn't misinformation? It's just not wanted by you. But it's not lying, it's truthful. You know, these kind of things, they're like, okay, fine. You don't like it? You don't like what we do here? Then go make your own. And then what do? They troll it. They shut it down. They don't even let it get off the ground. They don't want conservatives to have their own voice because they want to control the space. Period. End of story. They do not want there to be freedom of speech, freedom of ideas and expression. The left doesn't want it. They never have. If they did, they would welcome it. That they would say, see these crackpots over there, they can't get their platform up off the ground. Instead, they sabotage. They troll. They knock it down. They shut it down. If they can't win outright, they will cheat. And they claim, what, that they're doing it for our own good? Really? They're being hurtful and hateful for our own good. They're calling it truth. Whose truth? Are they actual facts? Or is it a narrative that you're trying to peddle and convince people of? What is it? Because one doesn't necessarily equal the other. And after Elon Musk got done firing some top executives and the CEO, this headline from American Military News, and I laughed on this one. Twitter employees list their demands in a letter to Elon Musk. I did. I had to laugh on this one. I'm like, really? Do you really think Elon Musk cares at all about what you think? Do you really? Do you think that he doesn't know how Twitter is run? Do you think at this point there's anything about the company and how the company operates and how the company bans people and how the company, you know, chooses how their rules are going to apply to whom? Do you think there's anything that at this point would be a surprise to Elon Musk? Mind you, all of their books has been open to him for some time. Do you think that he doesn't know what's going on? Do you think that he doesn't know where the problems are? He went in there knowing exactly who he was going to fire, who he was going to make an example of. And do you think he's going to stop there? I highly doubt it. He's going into this place and he is doing what President Trump should have done from the get-go whenever he won the election in 2016. He's cleaning house. He's draining the swamp. Yeah. Huh. Elon Musk, vice president. You know, I'm not really a fan of Elon Musk. Everything all said and done, I'm not. But the man is a businessman. He's smart. And no, by the way, he couldn't be vice president. because he's one step away from being president. And considering Elon Musk is not a natural born citizen, no, he can't do it. But that would still be freaking amazing. What a winning ticket that would be. But the man is a foreigner and knows without the Constitution and the Bill of Rights that everything he has would never have been possible. And instead of being a gatekeeper to stop people from innovating and building themselves up to the level that he has been able to acquire, he's like, no. I love freedom. I am a fan of freedom. I am an immigrant brought to you because of freedom. I want this. This means something to me, instead of being like a Steve Jobs or any of these other people that are like, I'm going to be a gatekeeper and not going to allow people to compete with me. I'm going to shut down the free market capitalism, and I'm going to put a bunch of red tape that nobody can cross. He wasn't that type of person. I respect that. I don't believe a lot of his views. I don't like a lot of his views, but I do like the man because freedom means something to him. And I support that. Hands down, no questions asked, I support that. That to me is amazing. Absolutely amazing. So moving on with this whole Pelosi thing. All right. Now I'm going to be honest with you. I am getting sick and tired of seeing that guy's face. That sounded really bad. Did that sound bad to you? I mean, that sounded bad to me. Maybe that's just me. I don't know. Anyway, this article, again, from justthenews.com, I got quite a few from them. Not like they're the only sources that I have in here. You can head on over to thehohoshow.com. Just click on that newsfeed tab, and there you will see the magazine and Flipboard, which is my go-to hub, my one-stop shop for anything, everything, and all things news. They're where I like to go. But I've got other sources in there. It's just, justthenews.com kind of does it. The name is in their name. Yeah, that sounded stupid. Democrats media jumped the gun to pin Paul Pelosi assault on Trump Republicans. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I thought the same thing that I'm sure you thought whenever I heard about the assault on Paul Pelosi. This looks just way too convenient. They didn't even report any type of a head trauma, a fractured skull. It was just some bruises, some bumps, and it was a wellness check. And it's like, none of this makes any sense. A 40-some-odd-year-old attacking an 82-year-old and, bumps and bruises at the Zuckerberg Hospital for the badly bruised. And none of this makes any sense. It's like, this sounds all too convenient if you ask me. Never waste a tragedy, and that's what we have here. And I'm sure that I, just like all of you, thought the same thing. And we knew that where the Democrats were going to go with this. We knew what the narrative was going to be. Of course we did. They do this every single time. And if there's any delay in the person's color and political affiliation, you can guarantee that the guy was white and a Trump supporter, and this whole thing smelled like Jesse Smollett to me. So they're looking for a couple white guys with MAGA hats, with the noose, while he went out buying some Subway and he got some bleach thrown on him. That was a story that I was expecting to hear. And obviously, and the Democrats do this all the time, they jumped the gun by trying to pin the assault on Trump and Republicans. Even though you don't have Republicans doing the same thing, like whenever that, the supporter of, what's that guy's name? Bernie Sanders, tried to shoot or stab somebody. I forget which one it was. We didn't go, he's to blame that this whole entire thing goes on, that guy that we don't like. Now we said, no, he's got nothing to do with this. This was the act of a deranged person, and Bernie Sanders is not to blame. Obviously, we have a little bit of common sense in our heads, in our noggins. No, we're not going to blame this on Bernie Sanders. What did Bernie Sanders do? Nothing. Even though we can put a blame on a lot of Democrats whenever they say stuff like, you get in their face wherever they are and you should fight and yada, yada, blah, blah. I mean, this is the stuff that comes out of the mouth of Democrats, but we don't put the blame on Bernie Sanders for that kind, for a deranged lunatic that went after somebody. But yet it seems as though the Democrats like to do that to us all the time. Jumping the gun and blaming Trump supporters, and Republicans on Paul Pelosi's assault. Apparently that wasn't the case. Apparently the guy was a Democrat. We know this because, they took it down, his social media presence profile, really, really freaking quick. Boy, howdy, they did not waste any time removing his social media footprint. They got rid of his footprint. This article from Bloomberg, this was intentional. SFPD chief details about the attack on Paul Pelosi. It was intentional. He was targeted. They were after him for a reason. What that reason is, I don't know. We might not ever know. But here's where I kind of started to think a little different about this whole attack, because at first I heard that there really, there wasn't any broken bones. There wasn't any talk about a fractured skull or anything like that. So I'm like, this whole thing sounds a little convenient. However, I will say that I apparently was wrong. This article from the let me try saying that again. The Jerusalem Post, Pelosi's husband underwent, and of which case it was Pelosi, just not Nancy. It was Paul. But Paul Pelosi underwent successful surgery to repair the skull fracture. So that's awesome. At least, they successful surgery. Last I heard, just trying to give you a bit of an update on that. Last I heard, he's going to be in the hospital, I guess, for a while for healing and whatnot. I don't know exactly if he's out of the woods as far as head trauma goes. I don't know how extensive any of that was, but they are looking for him to make a full recovery. So that's a good thing. And that's definitely a good thing. Now, we don't know what's up. We don't know yet. We still don't know yet. And who knows, we might not ever find out what's up. We might not ever. Who knows? Oh, I forgot that one. Okay. All right, guys. Well, that is actually all I've got for today. That's it. Hour and a half show. I tried to do better on not making this quite as long as what some of them have been. So, yes. One more time, this Halloween, Monday, October 31st, the 5th annual Halloween extravaganza brought to you by none other than the Mr. Alex Exum, host of the Exum Experience and Live Talk with Alex Exum, brings to you the diabolical Dr. Stein, a modern retelling of Frankenstein. You can head on over to diabolicalstein.com and reserve your tickets today. Just follow the link on that website, link down in the description below, and use promo code HOHO for 50% off. Again, that is diabolicaldrstein.com. Follow the link. Promo code HOHO for 20% off.
It's a privilege to be alive. We take it for granted too much. But before you can live, you have to survive. And that is not always an easy task. But on this eerie and dark night, there are no guarantees you are going to survive. Who will live and who will die? This Halloween, a maniacal surgeon known for barbaric experiments is on the loose in his asylum. Are you ready to meet Dr. Stein? Are you ready to match your wits against this maniac? Find out now at diabolicaldrstein.com. Meet your maker.
All right. Well, I do thank you all for stopping in and joining in with the fun and the craziness. Again, that was Diabolical Dr. Stein. Head on over to or follow the link down in the description below to diabolicaldrstein.com. Click on the link to get your tickets today. Use promo code HOHO for 20% off the ticket price. That is absolutely amazing that he threw that in there just for y'alls. I'm telling you, I did not get that kind of a deal. I really didn't. So now that the show is over, I am going to head on in, fix me another drink because I'm out now. But I need another drink, and then we're going to head on over to Parler because I have got one more thing to talk about, something that I am unable to talk about on the YouTubes, something that they really don't like me talking about on the YouTubes. But we're going to talk about that over in Rumble. So once I get my drink, get everything set up, give me about 10 minutes. So we'll say a quarter till 9 o'clock. That is 8:45. And actually, you know what? Let's just make it, no, 8:45. We'll do that. 8:45. We'll be live over in Rumble, and we'll do this thing. We will do this. It'll be amazing. You're going to love it. That's what we're going to be doing. All right, guys, that's all I got. Y'all just have yourself a great one in 10 minutes at least. See you then. This has been The Ho-Ho Show. For more information, you can head to thehohoshow.com. And for the merchandise store, you can head on over to stinkpickle.com. That is stinkpikle.com. Until next time.